Dit is een lied over een plant. Een groene plant. Een mooie plant. Een welriekende plant. Een grote, een sterke, ja, een nuttige plant. Het gaat over de Cannabis sativa hollandica.
Hello everybody. In this episode we will inform you as fully as possible about cannabis, and I will be your guide. Firstly, we will visit a professor at the Oxford University. Afterwards we will go to a coffee shop worker. Then we will visit a cannabis grower, and last but not least we will also talk with a police officer. We're now going to meet Professor Andrew Patterson, who is specialized on the cannabis and how it affects the human body and the human mind. Good afternoon, Dr. Patterson.
Good afternoon.
Why is it that you have been specializing on cannabis?
Well, at the university all my friends were like smoking 4 to 8 joints a day, and their health was going worse and worse, and I saw it all happen, and they weren't the people anymore I used to know, you know, and
Yes.
well, I sincerely regret the fact that I started smoking and become addicted, and since then I wanted to know more about the drug, so I started to investigate on it, and that's actually it.
So, Mr. Patterson, what effect does the drug have on someone's life?
Well, it has a lot of consequences for the human life. First of all, I will start with a huge effect on short-term memory. You forget the normal things you would do a day, something like forgetting your wallet or forgetting your cell phone. Secondly, it causes anxiety and panic attacks. For example, there was this boy of 15 years old and he started smoking cannabis for 5 months. And when the anxiety started, his nights became literally a nightmare, and more occasionally he was fearful. He was convinced that his heart had stopped beating and he thought he would die. So cannabis causes mental distortion. The paradox of this is that cannabis can also be used to treat anxiety, which might be helping for a moment, but for a long term you have a big chance of getting more panic attacks. Okay, thirdly, you have an increased risk of accidents because your body reflex is getting slower and slower. Last but not least, it has catastrophic effects on the body's health. Your respiratory system will get damaged, and your immune system will be weakened.
Cannabis is a plant that causes a lot of commotion nowadays. The plant can go outside the coffee shop, but it cannot go in through the back door. So they can sell it, the coffee shop, but they cannot buy it. So these are strange rules, right? I'm here with a coffee shop worker, and I have some questions for him. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
In which coffee shop do you work?
I work in the coffee shop Happy Days in Lisse.
And what is your job in the shop?
My job in the coffee shop is to sell the customers the best weed in the world, and sometimes serve them some drinks.
And what's the average number of customers you get on a day in the coffee shop?
On the midweek there's an average of let's say 80 people who come to the shop, and our shop is open from 5 PM till 10 PM, so they won't have to come to their work hours, but they just can come after work.
Okay, and what's the most popular weed?
The most popular weed in our coffee shop is K2. My favorite too.
Oh, it's your favorite as well, okay.
Yes.
And what about the law? Do you think the law is right, and why or why not? Because the laws, they are a bit silly. So can you explain that and what do you experience?
In the Netherlands the laws are very lenient compared to the other countries, but I'm already used to this climate of lenient rules, so for me the rules can go even more lenient, because nowadays you can only have in the coffee shop 500 grams of weed, and my father, who also runs the shop, he always have more than 500 grams, but the cops are now way more strict on that, so for me the rules could even get more lenient.
Today we have an appointment with a real cannabis producer, so we get to know everything about the cannabis, the production. But I'm wondering where he is right now, because we had an appointment right now. Ah, there he is. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What's your name?
No, I'm not going to tell my name in front of television.
Because it's illegal, your
Yeah,
job.
I have an illegal job. So.
Okay, since when have you been doing this job?
Well, I smoked my first joint when I was 16, and when I was 21 I started to grow my own plants, of course a lot cheaper for me. And yeah, I've been doing that for about 20 years now.
And what do you earn, for example, per plant?
Well, you have one plant delivers like 15 grams,
Yeah.
and I have about 400 plants, and 1 gram is €5, so you can do the math yourself.
And are there differences between 20 years ago and now?
Yeah, the differences are enormous actually. In the past you had a lot of good growers and yeah, fine growers who had real ambition for the job. And nowadays, yeah, they stop because the government is getting more strict and strict. They really want to catch the people who grow actually. And to continue is a big risk. So yeah, a lot of them quit it. It's a shame actually. Because the gap that is now existing has to be filled with people, growers, and a lot of these people are bad. You can call them bad, but yeah, they only want to make money, so they have no real ambition for the job. And there's this story about a lead solution. They put their cannabis into a lead solution, so it weighs more, and if you have 30 kilograms and you put them in the lead solution, you have about 50 kilograms. But lead in your lungs is, of course, yeah, that's like water on fire. That doesn't mix. It's really bad for the lungs. Well, and also this growing attracts a lot of criminality. A daughter of a friend of mine, yeah, once had an interaction with criminals. Yeah, she was beaten up because she wanted to defend her own weed, and well, yeah, because criminals wanted to steal them, and so she was beaten up. So you see that the criminality is really rising.
We are now with a police officer in private. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What are the rules in a coffee shop in the Netherlands?
There are a lot of rules in the coffee shop in the Netherlands. For instance, that the coffee shops are not allowed to advertise their products to their customers. They are also not allowed to get customers under the age of 18. Also, they can only sell a maximum of 5 grams per day per customer, and no hard drugs are allowed in the coffee shop.
And what is the consequence for the people who break these rules?
It happens often that people break the rules in the coffee shop, and this leads often to court sessions, and people are put into prison. And this costs a lot of money for the government, so it has only negative effects.
Okay. It's now 2 weeks ago that I had a conversation with the cannabis producer, and I've heard terrible news, and I want to hear what has happened. So there you are again.
Yeah, well, yesterday at about 11 there were 3 guys banging on my door, so I opened and there was a gun pointed at me. And yeah, they asked, well, they did not ask, but they wanted my cannabis. So I did everything for nothing. And yeah, well, I lost everything now, so I feel horrible actually. And the worst thing is actually that the people in the coffee shop don't have any cannabis anymore. Yeah, well, my stack is gone. Well, and also the people, yeah, in the coffee shop now get cannabis, which is produced by violence and by criminality, and of course, yeah, this is not the way it's supposed to be. I mean, it should be a fair business. Yeah, good biological cannabis, and well, if the rules are stricter, then we will face the same trouble as in America. And yeah, well, I'm a bit shocked, so I'm going home.
Yes. Okay. What a terrible story.
Hey man, here's your money.
So why is this going so secret?
I don't want to be recognized, man. Can be caught for it.
I'm buying the weed to sell in the coffee shop because I may sell it but I may not buy it. And it's going so secretly because I don't want to be recognized by people on the street because they will call the police and the police will cut me and then I will lose my job.
Okay. So this was the ending of the episode, and we can conclude that the cannabis will always cause problems and the problems will never be solved. Making it totally illegal will give more problems because there will then be more criminality. But making it legal will also cause a lot of problems, of course. And we hoped that this episode makes you think twice when rolling that joint again.
Dit is een lied over een plant. Een groene plant. Een mooie plant. Een welriekende plant. Een grote, een sterke, ja, een nuttige plant. Het gaat over de Cannabis sativa hollandica. Oftewel...